I'll call the meeting to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Camp. Here. Councilmember Hagenow.
Present.
Councilmember Kerr. Here. Councilmember Farmette. Councilmember Reefstall. Here. Councilmember Sullivan.
Here.
Mayor Riley.
Present.
There are 6 members present.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now we have an opportunity to approve the agenda, and unless there's objection, I would propose we approve the agenda with the removal of resolution 2026-24 from the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is approved. Now we have an opportunity for communications to council. If there's anyone who would like to speak, please step to the podium, Chief. And no one online? Seeing no one prepared to speak, I'll close communications to council. Now we have the consent agenda. Were there any changes to the consent agenda?
Yes, if I may, on the accounts payable, a draft was sent to you all for the final. And the only difference was you have a reimbursement to Maddie Sulu for $124.70. Just want to make sure that gets on, that you guys approve that.
Is there, could I have approval of the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda with the one addition.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda is approved. Next item is consideration of ordinances. And the first ordinance is 2026-0-10. An ordinance of the Town Council, Town of Keystone, Colorado, an ordinance repealing sections of the land use code regarding acceptance of roads. Mr. Town Manager.
Okay. This, as discussed in the work session, removes the section that we adopted when we adopted the county land use code dealing with the acceptance of roads. We will replace this with procedures adopted by a resolution that are more directly targeted towards Keystone as opposed to the countywide existing land use code. I will let our town attorney discuss this and answer any questions you might have.
So just as the town manager said, this is a repeal of sections of the town's land use code, which is the Summit County code that we adopted by reference. It's sections in the road and bridge chapter of the code and really applies to the town's acceptance of roads, either private roads when an owner applies for taking over ownership responsibility, development of new roads and acceptance of those new roads, and then also through a local improvement district. All of those acceptance of roads for public purpose can be handled either through a development agreement, public improvement agreement, or through the town's policy that you all intend to adopt through resolution.
Councilmember Hagan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Madsen, if we were to adopt this as presented, is there a risk that there's a gap between when we adopt not when, but if we likely adopt future ordinances or codes and when this would take effect.
No, a couple reasons that I'm not concerned about that. One is it really, for all of these town acceptance of roads, there needs to be an application process. I'm not aware of any specifically pending application where there would be an issue. Also, as I understand it, council is going to adopt at the next meeting the resolution. And so those will be the standards that will apply once that application comes in the door.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any discussion? Councilmember Kerr.
I just wanted to thank you for doing the hard work of mogging through code and recognizing the things that can come out because they will not be relevant to us. So that's part of what you discussed in the work session, and I wanted to acknowledge it.
Thank you. Any other discussion? In that case, I'll call the question. And, can I have a motion first?
Yeah. So I move to approve ordinance 2026-010.
Second.
Right.
Been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2026-010 of an ordinance of the town council, town of Keystone, Colorado, an ordinance repealing sections of the land use code requiring the acceptance of roads. Is there any discussion? I'll call the question. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Camp.
Approved.
Councilmember Hagenow.
Approved.
Councilmember Kerr.
Approved.
Councilmember Riestal.
Good.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Approved.
Mayor Riley.
Approved.
There's 6 votes to approve.
The next resolution is resolution 2026-25, a resolution of the town council of the town of Keystone, Colorado, authorizing a contract for services with A-Peak Asphalt Inc. for certain road repairs. Mr. Town Manager.
Okay, this resolution as written approves 2 separate contracts, which we'll have our town attorney review before signing after approval. The first one is for overlay, mill and overlay on West Keystone Road from the Highway 6 intersection to across the bridge. Second, for a total cost not to exceed $174,109.17. The second contract will deal with a mill and 2-inch overlay on the Montezuma Road underpass for a total cost not to exceed $153,201.29. Combine these 2 contracts will result in a cost of $327,301.46 to the town. These contracts are with A-Peak Asphalt.
Councilmember Hagenow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Manager, would you be able to, and I know we talked about this during the work session, so this isn't like informational necessarily for us, but for anyone that's listening back on this, where do the funds come from, and about half of them coming from a voter-supported initiative?
Half of the majority of the funds will come from our lodging tax, the 2% lodging tax that we passed in, when was it, 2024, September or November 2020, November 2022, 2024 is when it was certified. Those funds are available for, among other things, capital infrastructure projects, Highway 6 safety, and maintenance of streets and trails. And the rest comes out of our general fund, public works.
And while the voter ballot initiative language does support maintenance of the roads, the plan is to explore future ways that we can invest in the community and infrastructure, not only maintenance and repairs. Correct?
Yeah, in fact, we still have approximately $500,000 budgeted this year for new projects and the ability and the funds to do, maybe not the ability, but the funds to do more new projects this year. It all depends on contractor availability, of course.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Any other? Councilmember Kerr.
So I just wanted to point out, we had a surprisingly extensive discussion at the work session of this topic. And I can boil it down to 2 points. One, council-wide commitment to the basic government responsibility to maintain safety through public road maintenance. I appreciate that. We all do. And then secondly, council's intent to assess 3 additional capital investment projects, which we are interested in pursuing. And we'll take a hard look at the budget and possible supplementary budget. And those include the Razor Drive bus stop and sidewalk. Yes.
Yes.
The West Hills sidewalk. Not sidewalk. Yeah, the West Hills bus stop, the requirements for the bus to stop there, and tennis court intersection improvements to.
Tennis club.
Yes, tennis club road intersection with Highway 6. So those are still on our intent list, and we will address when those RFPs come back. Yes?
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
Any other comments or discussion? Can I have a motion then?
I move to approve resolution 2026-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of resolution 2026-25, a resolution of the town council of the town of Keystone, Colorado, authorizing a contract for services with 8 Peak Asphalt Inc. for certain road repairs, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Mr. Town Manager, Resolution 2026-26.
Okay, this is a new one. This is approval of an IGA among the other municipalities that have municipal courts in Summit County. Some background: in 2026, the town entered into an IGA with the towns of Dillon and Silverthorne to have a shared municipal court. Costs are shared among the parties under that IGA. At this time, Silverthorne Municipal Court, Frisco Municipal Court, Breckenridge Municipal Court, and Summit County all use the same court management software. And I'm not sure if, no, Blue River does not. All use the same court management software, and the license for that software is expiring this year. The county does not feel that this software serves their needs. It's county courts is a different gig than a municipal court. So the county is backing out of the IGA, which they used to acquire the license for this software. Breckenridge, Frisco, Dillon, Silverthorne, and Keystone are proposing entering an IGA to allow Silverthorne to renegotiate the license for the current court management software and hosting system that we have. This IGA will not create any additional financial burden other than what is already expected. We need court management software and hosting systems. This IGA dictates that Silverthorne will act as the agent for all the municipal courts in the negotiations for a continued extension of the license of this software. It'll probably be a 2-year extension, at which point we'll readdress our needs.
Councilmember Higgins.
Thank you. In the background, it mentions a 1-year extension. Is there any limiting language that we think that we wouldn't be able to do the 2-year?
I'll ask. Go ahead.
This is just addressing, really negotiating a new agreement. And that the Silverthorne is going to take the lead. This doesn't approve any agreement with the software vendor.
And it doesn't pigeonhole us into only 1 year.
Right.
2 to 3 year contract.
Correct. Yep.
Thank you.
And just along those lines, this is just really this is just to have Silverthorne take the lead. Because most likely, there might be some changes in costs and service. And
Probably minimal changes.
okay, that's fine.
Other questions?
I'm going to give a motion.
All right.
I move to approve resolution 2026-26.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion?
I like that there's consistency among the towns to use the same software.
As we have done with the town of Dillon for law enforcement and the town of Silverthorne and Dillon for the municipal court, it just makes sense for small towns like we have in Summit to do exactly what you're saying. Any further discussion? I'll call the question. All those in favor of passing resolution 2026-26, a resolution of the town council of the town of Keystone, Colorado, approving an IGA for the acquisition of court management systems, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion's carried. Resolution 2026-27, Mr. Town Manager.
And I will pass this off to our town planner, Jessica Hitzwick.
So we heard in work session about the Summit County Outdoor Coalition, what the group does, the charter updates that have occurred. And this resolution is for council to consider approving of the Summit County Outdoor Coalition Charter and directing the mayor to sign the charter on the behalf of the town of Keystone.
Councilmember Kerr.
I know some of the members of this. I think it's a good organization to the intent that we share. I do wonder, I don't see the executive group identified online. So let me back into the question is, what's the role of Summit County Outdoor Trails and Open Space with respect to this?
The role of Summit County Open Space and Trails Group, they're a partner as part of this group.
Okay.
The executive committee is made up of 3 board members. Right now, I believe it is someone from Town of Frisco, someone from Summit County, and someone from the Forest Service.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Councilmember Camp.
Is it, did I understand correctly that we would need to have a member from this body participate in the meetings?
Attendance is expected from an appointed representative. I have been going to the meetings.
So we could keep it just as it is?
It doesn't have to only be me. If at some point we'd like to name someone else, that is also an option. It's just a town of Keystone representative.
Yeah, that was the clarification. Thank you.
Normally for bodies like this, staff represents the town.
Thank you.
Councilmember Hagan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One of the aspects that I know we talked about during the work session was looking to find ways to include other major stakeholders. And I believe for what you used is making sure everyone's major players areas involved at the table. And so we had identified that Vail Resorts, Copper Mountain, and part of that. So just again, we'd like to reemphasize seeing if we can find a way to ensure that those major stakeholders, and especially Vail Resorts for us in Keystone, can find a way to be involved.
Absolutely.
Any other comments? Can I have a motion? Councilmember Sullivan.
I move to approve resolution 2026-27, a resolution of the town council of the town of Keystone, Colorado, approving signing of the Summit County Outdoor Coalition Charter.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving resolution 2026-27, resolution of the town of Keystone, Colorado, approving signing of the Summit County Outdoor Coalition Charter, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion's carried. Next, Mr. Town Manager, resolution 2026-28.
And once again, I will pass this off to our planner, Jessica Hertzberg.
So this resolution is regarding 3 vacant positions on the Trails and Open Space Advisory Board. Since ordinance 2026-07 was passed, which amended the qualifications of the members of this board to include more individuals in the Keystone community, staff has received 2 applications for individuals applying to join the board under the new qualifications that went into effect on the 9th. Staff believes that both of the individuals who applied meet these qualifications and that council should consider their applications to appoint them to any of the 3 vacancies. There is 1 regular member vacancy for an unexpired term that will end May 2028. And there are 2 alternate member vacancies for terms that will end May 2029. Both applications are included in your packet for consideration, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Councilmember Hagenow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When you note in the staff report vacancies, I distinctly remember that when we were building the membership for this, that we expanded it, and that might not be the right term, but we expanded it to allow for a number of qualified candidates at the time, beyond what our other boards typically have for seats. So when you use the term vacancies, is that the previous membership was X, 3 folks stepped down, and so those are being viewed as vacancies? Is that terminology?
Yes, when the Trail and Open Space Board was approved by either ordinance or resolution, it was for 14 regular members and 3 alternates, and we don't have that full number active right now.
And these 3 folks, was there 3 folks that stepped down?
No, 2 members did not apply to renew their term when it expired, and 1 person did step down.
Okay. Was there any sort of exit interview process to understand maybe why that was happening? Okay. And I bring this up and I share with the councils, one of the members of the board shared that it was large, for lack of a better way to say it. And I know that with 14, 17 people, there's different perspectives and we're never going to agree. 6 of us don't agree at times, right? So some people view it as too large, some people view it as just right, some people view it as not enough, right? I just share that because I know that might not have been a conversation that everyone had. And do we possibly look at realigning the size of this to be more in scope with what our other boards are?
Could we ask the functionality at this size if there has been concern that it hasn't been operating at ideal or at?
It's a hard distinction to make because some of it is growing pains of starting a brand new board and figuring out meeting cadence and structure and how things are run. Right now, I feel that 14 members are operating efficiently. In our last meeting, we got through a number of agenda items very efficiently and got a lot of work done. So I felt that was effective. We don't typically have attendance of all 17 members. Right now, we certainly don't with vacancies. So maybe some of that is flexibility for people not being able to attend every single meeting and knowing that we'll always have a large group to discuss matters, even if a few people are missing. That's all I can remember.
Have you ever had any issues with quorum?
We have not.
So we have heard this comment before, and for all I know, it was the same board member. And at the time, a discussion was had to the effect that you, or perhaps it was your predecessor, Lindsay, who was thinking of breaking the commission into specialized focused parts. that remains an option. I guess you have decided not to do that.
It's not that it's been decided not to be done. It's really, yeah, it's figuring out the intricacies of being able to have smaller working groups without having 3 more public meetings that we attend individually or without violating the open meetings law. So sometimes it's more effective to get work done in one public meeting as opposed to organizing separate groups outside into several groups.
And speaking only for myself, I believe that one of the reasons I thought we were feeling very open, we didn't start with the idea of 17 members, but we were very open to this when we got more nominations, more candidate interest than we anticipated. In my head, that's more people to do the work. But to this point, the work is mostly discussion and decision making. Is that accurate?
I would say it's in a transitional stage. In the beginning, there was a lot of discussion and planning for what was to come. And right now the board is moving into much more of a working product, which is 1 or 2 members inventorying a segment of trails, reporting out to the entire group, compiling information and laying the groundwork for a trails and open space master plan. So the work is picking up. Sometimes they do work outside of meetings and then bring it in to report, and sometimes work is done in meetings.
Sounds good. Okay, thanks.
Are there any members of the current Trails and Open Space board that are alternates that would like to move up and become regular members?
One alternate that's been named is a brand new member who was appointed to that term during the application period that we discussed 2 months ago, I think. So he is attended his first meeting. I don't know if he would like to move up to a regular member.
Do we only have one alternate now then?
Yes.
All right. So he was brand new, really, in essence, with the same batch. All right. Any comments? Councilmember Hagan?
Thank you. The 2 applicants that we were presented today both seem to have a strong tie to mountain biking and cycling. Is there a concern that this will lean the board into a niche focus with their mission?
I don't think 2 out of potentially 16 is too many to represent.
Well, I'm not talking necessarily about the 2. I'm talking is there already a coalition of 14 mountain bikers, and this is just going to make it 16?
That's not my understanding of the qualifications.
Yeah, I'd like to echo my concern as well.
I wouldn't necessarily, it's a concern. I think it's a understanding.
Well, but I have a concern. I have no issues with the candidate from Summit Cove. I understand she's local. She rides her trails on a regular basis. She is a college student going to Colorado Mountain College. So that means she's going to be away from home a lot of time, but I assume she can deal with that with remote attendance. My larger concern is with Samantha Streletsky. She doesn't appear to have, when I read her application, she doesn't appear to have a direct tie to Keystone. She does have a lot of strong advocacy background in mountain biking within Summit County. And so in that case, I'm really questioning whether her focus is going to be predominantly bike only and trying to push the agendas of the major advocacy groups in Summit County on biking, on bikes, and versus a focus on the town of Keystone's trails and open space needs, which could be biking, it's going to be hiking and trails, it's going to be other areas as well. And I don't know how to ask that question directly, but Are there any concerns at all about having a strong advocate who actually left an executive director position of the largest advocacy mountain biking community in Summit County, who doesn't live in Keystone, lives in Dillon Valley, now on the board, potentially trying to influence the town's positions based on her background?
And while I know Councilmember Parmont's not here, and he has actually shared that our security system is so fantastic that you can't even download the PDFs for our agendas in Kenya. But needless to say, I think that he would be very supportive of a unique perspective and, quite honestly, a professional perspective in mountain biking to help us drive advancements in the trails. And I do, and I would now talk out of both sides of my mouth, as you said earlier, right? That I do understand the concern, right? And I definitely understand the concern. But at the same point, for me, this is a great asset and a resource in a possible way that we can expand our trails in ways that some folks probably don't imagine, right? Like Mayor Riley, I'm not sure if you're an avid mountain biker, right? And I think that you might support more of the leisure walking trails, but we have a substantial amount of our population that would love to see an advancement in mountain bike trails within our community. And I think having somebody who is tied into the community, and I mean community of mountain biking, in a former professional way, would be hopefully more of a benefit than a detractor. And I'm also, I will flip on the second side. Aaliyah, I'm concerned about her Colorado School of Mines attendance, CMC attendance, in being able to be present in the community, especially as a student for that much of the year out of town.
Councilmember Camp.
I would just stay with Samantha for a moment and say that I was just reading that second to last paragraph as, you know, in this transition from leaving more of a serious role with SCOMBA, I'm reading that she would like to spend more time exploring and giving advice toward the trails in Keystone. And I guess back toward being a college student and having a residence where you would like to explore, I would give Alicia, I mean, I guess these are follow-up questions. If we had them to interview, which we don't have that procedure anymore, we had them to interview, then it might allow us to ask these two questions of, you know, do they have significant amounts of time to spend in Keystone?
If I may weigh in on two things, I agree with Councilor Camp. With Aaliyah, she thinks she can do it. If she finds that she can't make it, we still have a very large board, so it's not like we're choosing someone over her at this point. And as far as Samantha, she brings what she brings is a real expert knowledge of our connection of Keystone trails to the greater trail network around us, whether it's through biking or anything. And I think that's kind of invaluable. A third point, Jess has gotten really good at wrangling this committee. And I'm not overly concerned if Samantha proves to just be a mountain bike advocate to the detriment of everything else. I have faith that Jess can make that clear to the rest of the committee and rein her in as necessary.
And I've seen Jess wrangle a whole group of disparate people with the RTAP efforts. So
We're part of that.
yeah,
You were part of
We were
the
wrangled.
wrangled.
Who on staff, were these two individuals interviewed?
No, they submitted these letters of interest.
So have we haven't spoken with them? No one has?
Informally.
John, you seem to know them, at least one of them. No,
No, I
you're
don't.
going by this.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Samantha sat in on the last Trails and Open Space meeting to see what it's all about, and I was able to speak with her afterwards, but otherwise, no other application communication has been done.
And are we getting a recommendation from you guys? I mean,
This is recommended.
I would recommend appointing both of them.
You have 2 alternate positions and 1 permanent member position. Who gets the permanent member position?
Actually, neither of them. I think that's,
What's your recommendation for what positions they should be placed in?
I think for a regular member, the person who is based out of the county more of the year, Samantha, and alternate, the student who may not be able to attend all meetings. But if you feel that you'd like to keep the regular member seat open to a potential future individual, that's an option.
Would you recommend to ask the current alternate if they wanted it first?
I'd recommend we appoint them both to alternates. And especially with an open seat, an alternate will be sitting at every meeting anyways, and that way we can,
Staff can evaluate.
staff can evaluate.
All right. Then,
I'm going to say one more thing.
go ahead.
This is awkward. We are trying to make a decision about a person based on a few paragraphs. But it seems to me that Ms. Streletsky has a pretty mature approach to this as both an advocate and a user with a high school group. She talks about understanding that even if her only purpose in life is mountain biking, which she does not say, she understands that in order to be successful, we have to maintain the programs, maintain the trails, the budgets for all user groups. And I thought that was worth pulling out.
And I stand convinced, so.
What?
Can I have a motion?
move to,
Sorry, before you finish that, Dan, I'm sorry. Why would we not appoint this person with so much industry knowledge to a
Yeah.
permanent position?
I thought that was a done deal when you recommended permanent.
I only recommend it because I don't know the qualifications of our other current alternate.
Well, why don't we?
Hard pressed to imagine
It's
Jess can speak to that though.
maybe because they have already invested at least a year, we give them the first option, and if they pass, we look at some.
They've only
Our
invested one.
alternate has been a part of one meeting. They were appointed in.
Oh, so it's too early to say, okay. I agree with John.
Decision, because the Trails and Open Space Board is not a decision-making body, there are not many votes being taken that exclude alternates from participating.
Okay, good, thanks.
Councilmember Sullivan, you had a motion?
well, yeah. I move to approve resolution 2026-28, resolution of the town council for the town of Keystone, Colorado, appointing regular members and alternate members to the Trails and Open Space Advisory Board to fill position vacancies.
Second,
And no,
I know, that's
friendly
not,
amendment.
did you screw it
keep
up?
going.
Sorry. What?
well, to the 2 alternate positions that are available.
Right.
Second.
So you,
Moved and seconded.
Well, I added it to the end.
so we're appointing
2 alternates.
all 2 alternate members to the position
Right.
vacancies. I will second that.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I still, I think that we should continue to gain staff feedback on the viability and participation of as many members. I think, I just maybe put my own shoes on is if I was one of 17, I might not be as invested in the committee as one of 6 or one of 7.
I don't know. From my participation, they were all very, very
We're all 17.
engaged, for sure.
All 17 knew that.
Yeah, I mean,
Everyone.
Not necessarily in person.
That prevent them from being able to attend every meeting, but everyone who showed up was very engaged in tends to call me outside of meetings to discuss because of how passionate they are.
So staff is constantly analyzing the makeup of our various committees and the FEC. So
Any other discussion? Call the question. All those in favor of approving resolution 2026, resolution of the Town Council of Town of Keystone, Colorado, appointing regular members and alternate members to the Trails and Open Space Committee, with both candidates being appointed to alternate positions, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. The next item is planning matters. And are there any planning matters, Mr.?
no.
I have a quick question about this agenda. Did I miss how we did not do the 2026, 24?
Yeah, we voted to remove it from, when we approved the agenda, we voted to remove.
So it
that
will be on a
resolution.
future.
It'll be in a future.
Okay, thank you.
Next meeting.
Not next week.
No, next meeting. That's.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What the heck
This
is
is the
that?
roads resolution.
Roads resolution.
All right. Report of town manager and staff.
Okay, so I'll start with our departments. Currently, our clerk and deputy clerk are at the Colorado Municipal Clerks Association. We do not anticipate either of them will be bringing back any hardware, unlike last year. But it will be beneficial to them both. Finance department, as you've seen, we're in budget season. Heike is already looking out for your money. As I said, she rejected my request for a helicopter. And to brag on staff a little bit, Heike has passed the first of the 6 tests she needs to take to be a certified government finance officer. It was planning and budget, and currently the tests are quite difficult. So we're really happy to see this advancement in her professional training.
And we're doing everything that we can to help her in that process by asking questions and challenging everything she does.
What is the title? Certified municipal? what?
Certified government finance officer. Yes. Public Works, we have water on all of our medians, which hasn't happened for a very long time. A very long time.
Are we going to do it? Are we going to sprinkle?
We are.
You are.
We are already sprinkling 2 days a week.
Okay.
Are we sprinkling more than the trees?
Yes,
Still
the
doing
grass
the-
too.
I also saw some movement deconstructing what may have been just dead things.
Yeah, and a lot of that movement was, I'm not quite sure, it was somewhere close to 100 buried sprinkler heads that were completely inoperable. It had to be located and dug up and replaced, and a lot of the timers and control structures for the irrigation had to be replaced. It's been a lot of work, and Josh has been out filling potholes too, among other things. So
Oh, are you using your new gator for that?
yes,
Is he-
we are. Yes,
Is he doing all that sprinkler work? You didn't contract that out?
he's doing all that sprinkler work. Yes.
I
I did
recognize.
see the new gator over with someone else, Josh and someone else over in the location you proposed for the display sign for the town.
Yep, that was actually a person from the water department helping get the irrigation and power running at that point. So the water people knew a lot about it, and they were very helpful. The Snake River Water District. And we're finalizing the engineering work and putting together the RFPs for the 3 projects we've talked about earlier. Marketing the RFP is going out this week. I had issues last week,
But not with the RFP.
not with the RFP,
Okay.
personal issues
Okay.
that took up far too much of my time, and I'm still biking to and from work because.
If you had a car that actually ran, you wouldn't have this problem.
Correct. Let me see, now going into other things, we're in HOA season and I think I've been to 3 meetings so far this year. The one big takeaway is they like us. They really, really like us.
How did they make that clear to you?
Gave us
They
cookies.
said,
That's what I wondered
Yeah.
No, but
exactly.
they actually said that.
they actually say that. They really do. The number of people, even after the meetings, walking up, thanking me. People walked out of meetings as I had to leave early. Not too early. I left Dan with the questions with the Willows, came
You
out.
took the cookies, got it.
And so that's good.
But we've managed to get to at 5 meetings, I believe, so far. And we've probably gotten to about 100 different individuals in town.
Just a note on that, on the spreadsheet for anyone who hasn't done it yet, if it says 10 a.m., you might want to arrive earlier than that because that's when you are expected to speak,
Yeah.
not necessarily when the meeting starts.
Yeah.
Unless it's Willows.
And then some meetings you get there 10 a.m. and 10:45. Right?
That's probably true too.
That's right.
Yeah, you're talking about grills with us.
Depends where we fit on the agenda. We have asked that they give us a time and try to honor that, but at times they're doing other things. It really depends with the HOA. Sometimes they have us first, so 10 a.m. is really important. Other times they're anticipating we'll speak, say, at 11 and tell us to come in at 11, like we had with Lone Eagle, and it was closer to 11:30 or 11:45 by the time we spoke.
The mayor and I were at mayors, managers, and commissioners. It was probably the smallest MMC agenda I've ever seen. All we really did was meet the new district ranger, who is going to be here at our next council meeting on the
We
28th.
have already seen him in action here.
Yeah.
Impressive guy.
Fire danger, we're still at stage 2 restrictions. Now, some of the people in Breckenridge, some of the council members there are pushing for stage 3 fire restrictions. Let me give a little summary of why that really is off the table. Stage 3 fire restrictions will not impact us as a town whatsoever. Within our municipality, it's the exact same restrictions. What stage 3 does is completely shut down the forest. All dirt roads, it shuts down the forest. And I believe the forest has done this once or twice in the history of the forest. It's very difficult to do, incredibly difficult to monitor. Forest Service does not see any need for stage 3 at this point.
Specifically said that they don't see the need.
The district ranger said that at the mayors, managers, and commissioners. So understand stage 2 is pretty much as restrictive as it can get in a community.
And so even if Breckenridge's council decided they wanted to declare they were in stage 3, it wouldn't make any difference because they don't own any of the lands that are impacted.
And so from a tangible use perspective, is stage 3 implemented when there's an active fire and you're not allowed to go in the forest, or when would?
If the science dictates that fire risk was so extreme, the Forest Service could implement the equivalent of stage 3, which it basically is they close the forest to all people.
I respect the science-based approach that they make here. They talk about fuel, they talk about moisture contact. It's complicated.
Yeah, they didn't even go to stage 3 when the troublesome fire started. It's a catastrophic solution. We had the I-70 Coalition meet here last week. I-70 Coalition is still opposed to the, I believe it's Proposition 175, which calls for devoting $700 million to building asphalt roads, and that's it out of the state budget. Eliminates,
Remind me, that's going to be on the November ballot?
yes,
Okay. They need to
but it's,
start their
I think
education campaign.
it's a big deal that the I-70 Coalition, who represents all the communities and stakeholders who really have an interest in that asphalt road working, are opposed to this because it's just so limiting and it's a constitutional amendment, and finance decisions should not be in the state constitution. The referendums are acts of our elected representatives, in my opinion. I saw Gary Martinez today. He said hi. July 4th, I felt was a huge success. We had almost 300 kids who had waivers signed for them. So that's well over 1,000 people who showed up at it. Total cost of this was somewhere between $8,000 and $10,000 when it shakes out. A big hunk of that was buying the inflatable bounce houses, or not buying, renting and paying for the people who we could not monitor those. They had to have their people doing it. And then the band. I've received nothing but great comments. I have not seen Lakeside that activated since Relson Resorts stopped serving employee meals down there. It was a real amazing thing to see.
I received numerous, Christy and I were both there. I received numerous comments from longtime owners in Keystone and residents who just praised the fact that we did that and the fact that that was the busiest they've seen Lakeside in years. And so it was a tremendous success.
I was hoping for impact on those local businesses. Do you have any feedback about that?
Not yet, no.
Okay, how do we get that?
I did talk to, and I'll talk about this during the report about the cocktails with councils, but the owner of Cures and Curiosities, which is down there,
Yeah.
Shared some feedback, generally pretty good. There were some critiques, but generally.
I had the same comment from Cures and Curiosity. They had great business. They couldn't give me any numbers, but they were very pleased. And the other business that was active there is Nowhere Pizza. And I think you got our pizzas from Nowhere.
Yep.
And
Okay.
they were understaffed to even handle the load.
And
And when you say we got ours, did we serve pizza?
no, just for the staff and council members who were there, we got.
Okay, no.
And Vail Resorts had, their restaurants were packed and their adventures.
Oh,
Every single paddle boat was out on that lake all day
the
long.
Adventure
Yeah.
Center was packed. We left a little after 4. The Adventure Center was packed all the way through that time period. Vail, in addition, we had live music until 2. Vail then brought in their own live music and carried it on to, I think, 5. And it was.
And the participation was amazing in
Amazing.
all the things that we offered. I mean, to the last minute.
And I
Some
do,
people met or reacquainted themselves with
Yeah.
it.
I have one, my favorite, I think, was one kid after the pie eating contest. He came up to me and he said, the prize should have been that you let me enter this contest. It was, whipped cream pies is all.
Adults
The
only.
other point is that my wife and I were doing popcorn with a cotton candy guy, and I can't tell you how many of the folks came in and said, how much does it cost? And we said, it's free. And their jaws dropped. I mean, we provided free popcorn, free cotton candy, and free sodas.
And the Capri Suns went.
And the Capri Suns.
Capri Suns, root beer, orange, and strawberry soda.
The planning was for 150 a maximum of 150 cotton candies and popcorns. We registered over 250 children.
So circling back to the way that we could support businesses, I think that we do have things we can learn from this first experience and help, even if they wanted to provide some kind of voucher or something to get them into.
Yeah, this can definitely be expanded at minimal cost next year.
So if we want to have like a follow-up meeting about it, like ideas that came up. Participate.
Jessica, it would be great because we'll come up with this budget item next year, just to get a sense of the business impact in that community.
Yeah.
You know, with the 5
I would,
businesses.
to be dead honest, we did not make our money back in taxes for this. But I think it's,
It doesn't matter.
yeah, there was a business impact. I think even more so, though, there was a true community impact.
It'd be great to say we had this much retail impact. I'm not talking about taxes. I'm not looking at us to make money,
Oh, yeah.
but I'd like to be able to use this in our business case next year.
Problem is, Vail probably would never tell us.
Won't tell us.
But it would be
And they're the big impact.
helpful to have some general feedback because next year, maybe some of those businesses would help us defray our costs. They would contribute possibly. We brought the people.
One day.
Yeah.
I think we offered a booth. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think we offered that people could represent themselves with a booth. That might be a way, because I don't know that businesses would help to support the event, but if they were to have their own booth.
And you can, and to tell the truth, I think this business impact very likely extended beyond that because there were over 1,000 people who would have left Keystone and been in some other town for dinner. But those people might have gone out to eat at River Run or Kindred or the Snake or something because they were still over.
I do think there's mutual benefit here that we can try to leverage next year.
Yeah.
If you look at how busy River Run was, both the weekend of the 4th and the prior weekend, which was a surprise to me, is they were packed. Both weekends, I've been talking to Kindred, it blew them away from their expectations for the business base for the weekend prior. Fourth was probably in line with what they were looking at. And then what we did in Lakeside Village is spread it out. And I believe probably a group of these folks also then migrated, as John said, into River Run and supported the businesses. What you saw was restaurants and businesses staying open later. Instead of River Run rolling up the carpets at about 6, River Run was active until 8 and 9 o'clock. John?
Do you think it might be worth looking into allowing businesses to have booths that would be selling items? So could a pizza shop sell slices of pizza? Could an ice cream shop?
That's what we offered that, and Vail Resorts is the only one who took us up on.
I thought Vail Resorts did not want competition.
No, they don't have a
Didn't
problem
want
with
that to
that.
happen.
No.
Really?
Maybe with.
And nobody took us up on
I
it.
think that would allow us to have metrics. This is the challenge, right? And to create metrics.
So if they were just sitting back and watching, now we have something to work with next year.
Yeah, this gives us, as we work with Vail on other initiatives in some of their businesses and having them open more, this gives us ammunition to show what can happen when you partner with the town.
Maybe more. advanced
Quick
notice.
question. Was the drone show amazing? I was sorry to have missed that.
Exactly.
It was excellent. I'm a fireworks guy.
But it's not fireworks.
There was mixed reviews about the amount of advertising. So if we did, and same thing in Breckenridge, they did almost the same show, and a lot of folks came to the property I work at. Very mixed reviews about the length of advertising and stuff.
Yeah.
What do you mean? That there wasn't enough ads or they
No,
thought
no.
it was going to be something else?
There were ads.
Yeah.
Or
So the first several minutes was logos.
Oh,
Yeah, it was, I didn't have a lot of.
Yeah, I understand. This drone show was produced by the Colorado Tourism Office, I believe.
Oh, was
Yes.
it ads for Colorado or ads for
It's for businesses that pay for the drones.
Pay for the drones.
Yeah, Chevron.
UC Health, Chevron.
You don't get that with the fireworks.
I mentioned that in case we do end up looking at doing a drone show in the future as a town. That's something to be conscious of.
We can't afford a drone show.
Not that too.
No, I love. You tell them. Well,
Roads or drone show?
if this were a fireworks show, they would announce it. They would put it on the literature, but you wouldn't see it in the sky.
But it was impressive.
Okay, good.
But I agree, the ads were kind of, but you know what, they paid for it.
They're pretty.
And it's over.
Yep. Let's see, upcoming this Thursday and Friday, the Keystone kids will be up here with their trail wayfinding and,
Tell them you call them kids.
Students.
so I've gotten old enough that I call anyone younger than me a kid.
You called the RTEP students who supported as kids too?
Yep.
I think they might have said that once or twice and I told them.
Well,
And I've got
you can.
I call you guys kids when I'm not talking to you.
I've got an IMTPR meeting this Friday too. I will be out of town next Thursday and Friday. I'm going to Wisconsin again. Events this Friday, all the events there at Keystone, A Basin is open. They don't have any big events planned before our next meeting, but we have our Friday concert series and the afternoon club on Friday. That's free gondola rides up to the top. And then wine and the NRO is, wine and jazz this weekend at River Run and an NRO concert at River Run on July 23rd. The next concert after that will be at Lakeside after our next meeting, which is July 28th.
And the show at Lakeside is when?
The 30th or the 31st?
30th?
Yeah,
Don't remember.
I don't remember.
Just send an email out with it.
Has there been any movement on CAS, seeing that where the town can support that? And has the planning started?
They're going to start at the end of July.
And we are planning though for the October district meeting here already.
We've already broached it with Vail to make sure that the gondola is open and Lakeside Village is open.
Nice. I was saving this for other matters, but it's in line with your question. I have created opportunities. There's only the two in July, the wayfinding workshop and walking tour coming up Thursday and Friday, 16th and 17th. But then I pulled from our local area in Keystone and have some events in August and September to prepare for COILS because we are on a national stage here in town for the outdoor industry and CML. So it's a team building type offering that we could get together. I can give you examples of what I've found. I spent a pretty good amount of time researching opportunities that were free or low cost that we could participate together in and also be able to be authentic in our support of the outdoor industry. And so an example would be a cleanup, mountain cleanup front side in August for A Basin. There's also a river cleanup. So I can pass around this list or we can discuss it as potential.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for participation so that we can be a team.
Are you looking out for us to be participants or to help refine the proposal?
Both, because I want to know what you would participate in.
If I may, Councilwoman Camp, I think you're doing a team building retreat for the council.
No. Yeah, and it's basically investing in outdoor participation with, it's benefiting not just us as a building of a team, but it's also these options would be if you wanted to vote on them, or we could look at which ones would appeal to everyone. So one would be a Friends of Dillon Ranger District trail cleanup, and we could go private, or we could go with when the event is already happening.
Are you looking for the council to pick one to do all together, or are you looking?
Yes, at least once a month.
I don't think that we're gonna bake this out right now.
No, yeah, it says this is the beginning of the topic, so let me know.
So if I may,
Please.
this would have been great in other matters because this is something that we should workshop.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But leading into conferences, one last thing. I had to call the executive director of the Colorado chapter of the American Planning Association, who is holding their conference this September at the Keystone Conference Center, whose address they listed as being Dillon. Yeah, I ripped into him a bit. We're a town now, damn it.
I suspect that was from the zip code, right?
Yeah.
Just in the.
Yeah, because they gave the street address and.
Yeah.
And to answer the question, the NRO concert at Lakeside is Friday, the 31st of July at 10 a.m. Be there or be square.
That's it for me.
All right. Next item is mayor and council members.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I am going to breeze over this, but I welcome and invite the other council members that were at cocktails with council to give differing or additional perspective. For those that were not aware, cocktails with councils occurred at Kindred. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? But I think it was last week. They were very gracious and allowed and welcomed us to their space in the lobby bar. The Kindred Spirits, I believe is what it's called. If I were to surmise, I think it was 30 to 40 people there at higher than that. So really high engagement, right? And
Was it us or was it Kindred that attracted them?
you know, I did that job. Yeah, I went door to door. I don't know what you guys. Yeah, so I think that, and as why I share the number of participants, right, is there was 3 council members that were there, for 3 or 4 of us. I think it was 3 of us. And so one of the points of feedback from a constituent was that it was challenging to necessarily get FaceTime. I was talking the entire time, but I think that some of the constituents might have felt that they showed up and that they were, it was more of a social, right? Instead of a formalized method to communicate with council, which to a degree is a way, like kind of what I think we intended as.
Yeah.
I mention this because I think that as we start looking at these cocktails with councils, and this is now the 2nd year in a row that the highest attended event with councils has been this month's in the summer cocktails with council. So we should just keep this in mind for 12 months from now. For whatever reason, people are here in the summer, they want to go out and grab a drink at night or something, right? I don't necessarily know what's in the water here, besides the PFAS. But people want to get out and chat with us at that time. So we should maybe look at doing a structured round robin or something, right? And I'm not trying to bake it out now, but just some kind of way where we can have a formalized rotation or structure to the conversation and not just be a social happy hour type deal. Again, don't have the solution, not just presenting the problem.
I think you had proposed the round robin concept before. It can be as formal or as informal as any council member who's present. I do think the evenings are more and more important. We might even think about this over the next few council meetings, but we might even switch to morning, afternoon, evening, every other.
Well, and I like Dan put his thumb up when I said 40, and really we didn't do a head count, but there was a a significant number, almost half the lobby is full.
It's easier for more people to get there.
Exactly. Some of the highlights and just feedback that I wanted to hit on: the median presentation, and so the lack thereof of the beauty of it right now was called out by several folks, and I know that the manager mentioned some improvements and work on there. The kind of note was that, and they used another town in the county, was like, well, you can clearly tell that this town cares about their appearance with folks that drive in there because there's flowers, there's signs, there's trees and all this. So I think that for me personally, right, where I might have dismissed the medians as a nice to have, not a need to have, this is for me highlighted that people care about that, right? And so it's going to be a balance more so of not only investing in pedestrian safety, trails and all that kind of stuff, but also the beauty of town. Trails wayfinding was also brought up by several folks to me. Already talked about the structure of the meeting. Water restrictions was presented by our executive director of the water district.
Stop price.
The major water district stop price. Went over that in some ways that residents can identify and mitigate lost water. Also, it was ironic that we had talked about the marketing plan just a few days before, because there was multiple, 3 different groups of folks I talked to in one way, shape, or form had talked about liking the marketing plan or ways that the town council could support business and grow a marketing presence in various different ways. Business owners as well as residents, as well as stakeholders in county. I just have one more, Carol, and then bump it over for a question. Public restrooms was brought up as a
Good point.
a concern in some of our village areas, particularly the lakeside area. I think it has to do with more of the management of those quasi-public restrooms, I'll call them, because we don't manage public restrooms, but there are restrooms that are available to the public in various areas that are managed by various stakeholders. And so there's concern about the cleanliness or of them and whatnot. I bring this up and I share it because I think that people are starting to expect those kind of public services that other cities or towns might have, and have typically fallen to some of our larger master HOAs.
Our 2 restrooms are clean.
Well, Lakeside and River Run have many options.
Supposedly they're locked.
Well, Lakeside during the day, at least it's one of them I know.
I can.
Lake.
Oh. So, John, fascinated by the comments about the marketing plan. How do they know?
Well, they didn't, and that was the fast part. We were able to educate
Awesome.
3 constituencies at least that I spoke to, and I don't know if
And you made them believers. Good job.
I certainly educated them on it was happening.
Okay, great. Okay.
But and I'm not sure if Dan or Suzanne had any different or additional comments that they wanted to add.
I want to have one more. I guess my thought is you had produced a product for when we go to KO, when we go to HOAs that we put in. I would suggest we include these kind of things so that we don't, we capture, if I don't know if we can use it safe too, because I have 4 or 5 little items that I'd like to be captured, but we don't always need to talk about each one of these here.
But if we capture them, we can watch over time if these are patterns, yes?
Yeah, I think to a degree, we can probably easily adjust that survey, which I do owe a final copy to everyone. So I do.
Get rid of the required number of.
I've made those edits. I've made those edits, yes.
Because I went through the last survey for the first HOA I went to, and it said, identify all, and none of the items were really the specific ones that were there. I'd much rather see you have more narrative that said this was identified, versus trying to pigeonhole everything and then not letting you even finish it if you don't meet the requirement.
The concern for that, right? And from a perspective, like I'm not going to be managing the survey in about 3 days, right? And so this will fall to our staff to own. And if we do open-ended answers for all of this, there's going to be a lot of staff time in there. And so I know it's not necessary.
Staff would rather
But are we not just
have the exact
tracking in
concern that-
issues and concerns?
I mean, yeah, that's just my perspective. Is
You would rather have the exact concern than a multiple choice
Right.
general concern?
Yeah,
So I appreciate Dan bringing up, or this is the council meeting, right? So Councilmember Sullivan bringing up that idea, because I've been tracking the topics brought up at coffees for a couple of years. And I thought about asking you if that would work, but now that we're talking about
The
it,
third council member to suggest this, so maybe we do find a way to modify one of those surveys so that it could be capturing that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it'd
I
be
would
two
recommend you
different-
have one, you could have one survey that captures both coffee with council and
Statistician just got added to.
oh yeah, I agree, same survey could be
the same
used.
survey.
Yeah,
And
we're not trying to create
Yeah.
more. We're trying to create efficiency.
So I'm trying to be efficient, even though we're spending minutes talking about this. The only thing I want to say, we owe a big favor to Scott Price because we did kind of panic with all these people. It's like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And he stood up and gave a great presentation about a very current topic, which is, the water. And I thought it was great. I do have a number of items that I'll put in that. I don't want to bother people now, but from that event, it was, and obviously it was Kindred, it was a big draw.
Yeah.
I will say though, it's tough because it's a bunch of little seating areas. So it doesn't facilitate
Oh,
meetings real well for 50 people.
how did you do that? Did one person stand at the end?
Well, for the presentation, he stood up and presented to everybody. The challenge was the three of us then tried to move around, and it was tough. So
Just, it was real loud too.
And also it was, I at least felt you oftentimes got captured. And there was a few folks that were single issue constituents.
So we need to think about the format and location and then when we present that, but it was very good.
And
That's all I had.
Good
Suzanne?
rundown, good
The
rundown.
only thing that really came up for me, somebody was asking about recycling. And they said they go to Target to do their recycling.
What?
And I've told them about the landfill and the recycling there and also the
Single
recycling.
stream?
single stream pickup.
Well, apparently their condo doesn't do recycling, I guess.
They will have to in the very near. future.
Really? Okay. These were second home. And they just didn't.
It's easier door to door than it's fabulous.
Well, they didn't know.
I didn't even know there was this.
I didn't either. Right.
I don't even know where they take it.
That's
we have an executive session to go after this.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
That's all I had.
Right. The only thing I had was, I did go to two HOA meetings, Lone Eagle and Ski Tip. 4 topics were raised fairly consistently: wildfire mitigation, trail maintenance, meaning regional trail maintenance, of roads and medians.
Meeting.
And what were their thoughts about roads? Have them, do it?
They like what we were doing.
Okay, good. They're relieved that somebody's finally filling potholes.
No, I'm talking about the major West Keystone Road.
You briefed them on that.
Yeah, we
Okay.
briefed them on
These are
that
things you
piece.
got feedback on after.
Yeah, and they loved it. But the comments were wildfire mitigation, trails maintenance, and medians. So, and you were the same ones I was, John.
Yeah, and then the willows were a little bit
I have
different.
a few more comments, but I was going to put them in the report.
Yeah.
All right, so any other from council?
Are we on other matters yet?
Other matters?
I do have another matter. I know this is kind of going back in time, but the Mountain Energy Project and the PUC, what do we call it, Intercept, whatever it was called, right? Had the chance to meet with Excel a little bit and talk about how that's going. And it sounds like that electrification plans are not working out as far as they expected.
They've already decided?
No, it's just like the initial kind of information is showing that electrification is not on pace with where they hoped. Why I bring this up is that I don't personally think we're going to do anything that will drastically change either the state level perspective or what's already in motion by the PUC. But we are going to be looking at a compressor station in our backyard very, very soon, right? At a very high cost, right? And this entire mountain energy project is pretty significant. For quite honestly, what I view as a stopgap that does not actually solve the problem, which is getting more gas up here, right? As much as we want to pretend that putting electric hot water heaters or electric baseboard heaters or insulated windows, right, will actually magically create more gas up here as we build more units. I just personally don't think that will actually be the long-term solution. Affordability, I know I've mentioned multiple times in multiple different avenues of affordability long-term of our units is something that I really am considerate of, especially with our employee housing and folks that have to pay their own utility bills. And, you know, the difference between $100 for gas a month or $400 for electricity is significant to some people. What I'd like to try to see and maybe ask staff to look into this, or if we can look into this, is get concrete numbers on what a pipeline would cost, right? A pipeline would cost X.
They have
$470 million.
And okay, so $470 million, and then the mountain energy project is 180.
Yeah.
180. Okay, so we're spending a third of the money on what is starting to prove to be a solution that won't actually solve the problem long term. And so where I'm trying to get at is we might have to, and probably it's not going to be next year, it might not even be 3 or 5 years down the road, but we or the council in the future might be faced with a decision that they'd have to support a pipeline at that point, right? In a new pipeline. And I would personally rather support something or advocate for something that is actually going to solve the problem long term than a stopgap solution that will make certain environmental aspects happy because it's a low natural gas solution. I just want to set us up for resiliency and success 10, 20, 30 years down the road, and not just 5 years down the road with a hope that electrification will work. I know it's something, again, like I mentioned at the beginning, that I don't think we're necessarily going to create a resolution and magically the PUC is going to bend to us, right? I'm not naive to that point, but I think that the waterfall starts with the drop, right? And if you all agree or maybe have different perspectives or want to investigate this more, it might be worth a conversation to see if a pipeline, while it is 3 times the cost, would be an actual concrete long-term solution for not only ourselves, but everyone in county that's going to be developing more in the future.
So, Council Member Hagenau, I think the pipeline was the preferred solution of everyone except maybe the town of Breckenridge. The issue is what Excel wants to bring to the table.
Yeah.
We don't go to the PUC, Excel goes to the PUC. We just got a chance to intervene. If this solution does not work for Excel, and it's not going to be short-term, and they were naive if they ever thought people would be converting existing structures where they might see savings is in new building, which has slowed down extensively since the project was approved. I mean, I think it's far too short for anyone to be determining whether this is a successful or not project until we see construction pick back up again. Because this does make sense if you're building a new house or a new building because you have the affordability built in with the structures coming in.
But it's not long-term affordability. We're getting it.
It is. If your house is $40,000 less, that pays for the extra utility bills that you'd be paying for.
Not the person that runs it in 5 years, but the person.
Well, once again, this is not something we can do unless Excel puts something in front of the PUC.
And it's not
in the future.
clear, it's not Excel. If they had their way originally, they would have put in pipe. Public Utility Commission, which is a political, appointee from Denver said, we're not going to approve a pipeline. So I don't care long-term if it is the best. And I agree with our fellow councilman here.
Yeah.
Long-term, it would have been the best thing. But we're in a world where, politics, pays the bills. And so we're kind of stuck right now.
No, this was not PUC. This was Excel never proposed the pipeline to the PUC.
Because they were told that it wouldn't fly. I talked to Excel.
I did too.
Where I'm trying to get out.
Work with them for any.
Sorry, Councilwoman Kerr, just real quick, where I'm trying to get out with this is, again, I don't think we're going to drastically change anything, but they didn't pursue a pipeline because they were told it was a no-go, right? If we do a letter of support or something like this, resiliency in the mountains or energy resiliency or some kind of letter of support, I think that might be possibly the start of something in the future where it would at least give them something to grab onto when this needs to come up again.
So I think Councilmember Sullivan wisely said that Excel is responding to the guidance from PUC. PUC is responding to the intent of the Colorado legislature and governor. That's where we can make a difference, if we can make a difference at all. So I was going to ask, and I don't recall, were they not looking to extend the deadline for the electrification, the requirements?
Because nobody's taking advantage of the code.
No, not because of that. The overall, the Colorado, when they said everybody will have this degree of electrification by 2030, 2040.
If I may interrupt, this is not a topic of discussion tonight, and we still have more items.
I would. I would
Thought, John,
And when,
have it in off-site individual discussions.
yeah,
No, I'm sorry, but when is this a discussion then if it's not other matters?
when something can be done,
Yeah.
when something can be done.
Propose that perhaps we could start thinking about how to influence these decisions. And I think it's food for thought, but not for decision.
Yeah, I mean, I have sat to 40 hours of these Mountain Energy Project meetings, and I could talk for 40 hours about this situation tonight, and it's more than just the single pipeline. It's the supply of gas available at the entrance to the pipeline too. There is a lot.
That's where the big cost is.
Yeah.
I have another matter.
Yes.
It is that we are going to represent ourselves at a COILS, Colorado Outdoor Industry Leadership Summit in October. And the significance of that is it's a national stage where we can attract that we on a shoestring budget have opened ourselves to RTAP, utilizing interns and finding ways to support the outdoor industry until we have other means to support our economy. And outdoor industry is our economy. And so I have a list of suggestions for dates, be it they're mostly in August and September. So would it be appropriate that I email everyone these options? Options for getting together and getting to know, just having more of a team building effort. It's not just for COILS, it's also for the municipal league in a year from now, because when you visit a family that, is all together, you can feel that. If you visit a family that's disjointed, you can feel that. And us being such a small town, I feel like it would be beneficial to get together. An example is Keystone Science School. I did not get a ticket for the gala coming up this weekend, but there is an opportunity for a free summer celebration, August 8th. So I've just listed opportunities that we could show up to these events that are happening to better our nature, our outdoor industry, and allow us to do team building, not to talk about policy, not to talk to even town members about policy, but just to gather
Councilmember
and
Higgins.
support the outdoor industry.
Thank you. I love the initiative, and I think that there's a lot of great activities that we could be involved with and show presence in the town and surrounding areas. I do also, and I personally, right, and I know Aaron would feel the same way with his 17 jobs. We are pulled in 1,000 different ways. And so I think it'd be good to share out what you found, because it sounds like you've done a lot of research on for your low cost events that we can engage with the community at. But I also am concerned with adding responsibilities or expected obligations. And I speak for myself, and I think that Councilmember Parmont would align with this, but I don't want to put words in his mouth, is that this is already a pretty taxing, right, add-on.
I completely agree. And that's why I was doing the legwork to see if I could come up with things that we could feel more authentic.
Totally. And I think that what I was trying to get at, and maybe I didn't note it, is that if you share those out, it'd be a great opportunity for us to explore where we might be able to get more involved in the community.
Okay, great.
That's just my.
So my 2 points were going to be, yes, please share that out. Give us time to think about it and give us feedback. Secondly, though, for the COILS, the Colorado Outdoor Industry Leadership Summit, I understand that you proposed a session and were accepted. If you would share that with us, we might be able to help you refine and prepare for that session.
Yes, it's really just not now.
Send it out.
Just
Yeah.
write it down and send it
Write
out.
down a proposal. Okay.
Right, thank you. Sure. I'd like to see it.
All right. All right, anything else?
I would just like to circle back, and I'm not trying to make a decision, but I would just like to, what is the next step on other matters, right? Because we've now talked about this, and quite frankly, it seems like that there's an aversion to continuing a conversation about trying to support a pipeline or find a way across that. So what do we do with this now that's been, like, where are next steps that we can have conversations about what this looks
First question is, does the council, thumbs up or thumbs down, want to continue to push alternatives for the energy program?
Are we?
Alternative?
I think it's a premature question.
I think it's, do we want to know more about what our
Yes.
options are? And that's what I'm trying to present here, is like better understand what we can actually do.
Sure. I'll reach out to CML and see if the policy people and see if they have any insights.
Is that a fair, like,
I think you're pushing on a noodle that's going to make, that we can spend a lot of time on, and is not going to make any difference. I agree, by the way, I agree with the two of your position.
so instead of arguing about, instead of debating, continuing it, why don't we just learn more? If we want to support a letter, boom, send a letter, boom, done.
Then provide us the information and we'll be happy to have a work session.
So
I would be happy to work with you to help develop that.
what I'm hearing is the next steps are to learn more about it and talk about if we want to do it.
Led by you and Councilman Sullivan. I don't want the staff to have to go spend a lot of time for something that I don't believe is really in our purview.
It's going to be a tough one because it's political.
It's political. It's driven by the governor, the legislature.
It's driven by the Constitution.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a vote of the people that started this all. So what we could do as a town is propose a constitutional amendment to roll back our,
And we'll get that on by November.
yeah,
You get your 120,000 signatures.
I know 3.
well, certainly when this program fails, Excel is going to have to go to the PUC with another plan, and that's where we can once again make sure our voice is heard.
And rather be proactive than reactive this time.
Let's
Sorry.
I excel, you know.
Councilor Sullivan, can you give us?
I would like, and I have proposed an executive session pursuant to CRS section 24.6, 402, 4B, and 4E, is it L, to receive legal advice, specific legal questions concerning a potential plan unit development and possible future annexation, and to determine positions and instruct negotiators relative to a matter that may become subject to negotiations with a third party.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The council will reconvene. We will adjourn to the conference room at the completion of the executive session. We will come back into session, and at that point, we'll adjourn the meeting.